Very good morning, dear students. We have finished with our first chapter, The Fun They Had. And I'm sure you all must have enjoyed the lesson and must have understood the importance of human teacher, importance of present school system, is it? Today we'll be doing a very interesting poem, The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost, a very well-known American poet born in San Francisco in 1874. He is well known for his realistic writing. He writes simply but insightfully about common ordinary experiences. This famous poem is about making choices that shapes us, makes us and prepare us for better life. In the poem, The Road Not Taken, the road symbolizes our life. The poet says that the path that we don't choose in our life is the road not taken. He describes his feeling about that choice that had left in the past. The path which we have chosen decides our future, our destination. The important message that the poet wants to give is that the choice that we make has an impact on our future. And if we make a wrong choice, we regret it but cannot go back on it. So we must be wise while making choices. So let's begin paragraph wise. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller. Long I stood and looked down, one as far as I could, to where it been in the undergrowth. Now here the word diverged means separated and took away. Yellowwood means a forest with decomposing leaves. Once the poet was walking down a road, and then there was a diversion. There were two different paths, and he had to choose one out of them. The poet says that as he was one person, he could travel on one road only. He had to choose one out of these two roads. Yellowwood, as I told you, forest with leaves which are wearing out and they have turned yellow in color, which symbolizes autumn season. It represents a world which is full of people, where people have been living for many years. They represent people who are older than the poet. The poet kept standing there and looked at the path very carefully, as far as he could see it. Before taking the path, he wanted to know how it was. Was it suitable for him or not? He was able to see the path till from where it curved, after which it was covered with tree and was hidden. It happens in our life also. When we have choices, we have alternatives, but we have to choose only one out of them. We take time to think about the pros and cons, whether it is suitable for us or not, and only then we take a decision on what path we should choose. Now let's come to the next stanza. Then took the other just as fair. Here the word fair means as good as the other one, and perhaps the better claim. Claim means better option. Better it was grassy and wanted wear, though as far as that for the passing there had worn them really about the same. Now the poet kept on looking at one path for a long time to check if it is the right path for him or not. And then he decides and starts walking on the other path because he felt that both the paths were equally good for him. He says just as fair, so he felt that both paths were equally good and started walking on one of them. He added that maybe he felt that the path was better for him, so he chooses it as it has grass on it, which means that it was unused. Not many people have walked on this path earlier, that is why the path was grassy. And wanted wear. Wanted wear means that it was not walked by many people, only very few of them have walked on it. After he walked on the path for some distance, he realized that both the paths had been worn out the same way. Both the paths were similar and worn out. That's happened in our lives. We take any path or option, but all of them have the same benefits as well as disadvantages, problem, challenges, and whatever comes. Dear children, we must face them. We should not escape. We think that we are choosing a better option, but it is not that way. Now, the third paragraph. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step has trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Then the poet says that both the paths were similar that morning. Both has leaf on them, and no one has stepped on them as it was still very green in color. It was appealing very fresh. He decided that he would take one path and keep the other path for another day. Although he knew that one way leads to the other way, he knew that he could not go back on the choice that he has made. Similarly, even in our lives, once we choose an option, we must keep on moving ahead with that option and we never get a chance to come back and take the other options that we had left earlier. Now, the last stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh. When the word sigh comes, it means taking a deep breath. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the differences. In the last paragraph, the poet takes a deep breath and says that once upon a time he had reached such a point in life that there were two options for him, and he traveled on that road which had been traveled by a lesser number of people. That decision of his was for his future. Similarly, in future, when you will grow up, children, then you will say that once you had make a decision for yourself when you were young, you would have given two options. The choice that you made has made you what you became of it. This is a very strong message for all of us, dear students, that you should be wise. Be careful while making choices out of the option that you have in your life because your future depends on the choice that you make today.